And now, NQF Studios, in conjunction with the Public Broadcasting System, brings you Christmas Classics. And now, here's your host, Niles, Quinton Filmore. And hello, everybody. Welcome to Christmas Classics. You know, every year, the NQF Studios is proud to bring you this fine tradition. But before we get started with today's story, I just want to say thank you to all our fine viewers. If it wasn't for their generosity, Christmas Classics wouldn't exist. As you know, we don't kowtow to local advertisers clamoring to get their sponsorship for our show. No, we're all dependent solely on your generosity. You won't see gratuitous advertising here on the No Quit Fit. Oops, sorry, on the NQF broadcast system. Well, no further delays. Let's get on with tonight's story. You know, every year we're proud to bring you this tradition, and this year is no different. Not only that, I think it's probably one of the finest Christmas classics ever to be seen or read in our studios. It's one of my favorites, and I sure hope it's one of yours. This year's Christmas classic, How the Grinch Stole Fitness. So sit back, enjoy some holiday cheer, and listen to this year's great Christmas classic. As soon as I find the page. Here we go. How the Grinch Stole Fitness. Every who down in Roseville liked fitness a lot, but the Grinch that lived just north of Roseville did not. The Grinch hated fitness the whole fitness season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his pants just didn't fit quite right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his biceps were 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his biceps or shoes, he stood there Fitness Eve hating the Who's. For he knew every who down in Roseville, no doubt, was now getting ready to go and work out. And they'll be wearing their No Quit Fit shirts, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is fitness, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find a way to stop fitness from coming. For tomorrow he knew all the who girls and guys, the fit and the smart, would wake bright and early and rush to the park. And they would exercise. They would exercise. That's one thing he hated. All the exercise. And they'd do something he'd like least of all. Every who down in Roseville, the tall and the small, would stand close together, with large rocks no less. They would stand side by side and the who's would all press. And they'd press, and they'd press, and they'd press. And the more the Grinch thought of this whole fitness badness, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole madness. Why, for nearly 5 years I put up with it now. I must stop this fitness from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. As the Grinch glanced at his fat, he grabbed a No Quit Fit shirt and hat. And he chuckled and clucked, I won't feel the least guilty. With this shirt and this hat, I'll look just like Chris Milky. Then he loaded some bags in an old empty cart, threw in some sacks, and headed to the park. The park was all dark. Quiet snow covered the ground, and their who's were out running a hill up and down. He looked left and right, their equipment he found. I'll take all their stuff, the old Grinchy Chris hissed, and he grabbed some jump ropes in his dirty green fist. He tried on a rucksack, a rather tight pinch, but if Milky could do it, then so could the Grinch. All the who water bottles stood in a row. These water bottles, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk, and he huffed and he puffed around the whole area, and he took all their stuff. Battle ropes, hammers, sandbags and rocks, medicine balls, plastic pails, and the No Quit Fit box. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, rather smart, stuffed all the bags one by one into the cart. Then he grabbed his full cart and started to run when he heard a small noise, like the click of a gun. He turned around fast and he saw a slim Who. It was little Serafino who was not more than 32. The Grinch had been caught by this fit-looking Who daughter who'd wandered on over for a bottle of water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Chris Milky, why? Why are you taking our equipment? Why?" But you know, the old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet fitness tot," the fake Chris Milky lied, "there's a sandbag that is clearly uneven on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled Serafino, and he bid her goodwill, gave her some water, and sent her back to the hill. It was just past 6. All the Who's still in the park. All the Who's doing push-ups when he left with his cart. 300 feet he pushed it, the mean old grumster, 300 feet to a dirty old dumpster. "Pooh-pooh to the Who's," he was grinchiously humming. "They're all finding out now that no fitness is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Roseville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. And he stared down at the park. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Roseville, the tall and the small, were exercising without any equipment at all. Somehow, he hadn't stopped fitness from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And a Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without hammers. It came without rocks. It came without sandbags and a no-quit-fit box. And he puzzled 30 minutes until his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe fitness, he thought, shouldn't come from the stores. Maybe fitness, perhaps, would be better outdoors. And what happened then? Well, in Roseville, they say that the Grinch's small biceps grew 3 sizes that day. And at that moment, his pants weren't so tight, and he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the equipment, and the bags, and the rocks. And he himself, he the Grinch, completed 100 squats. The end. Well, thank you for joining us for this year's Christmas Classic. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. For the NQF Studios, in conjunction with the Public Broadcasting System, this is Niles, Quinton, Filmore saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Are you still here? Go. The program's over. Get out of here. Shoo. Go home. Go.